Hi, I'm Chuck Inglefield. I've been a financial advisor for over 25 years. I've helped hundreds of people retire. The one thing I know for sure is you get one chance to get this right. The presentation you're about to see is about how to prevent a financial freefall in retirement by making smart choices with your money. It's based on my book, Holy Cow, You're Retiring. By the end of this presentation, you'll understand how to create an income from your investments that keeps up with rising living costs, as well as adapts to fluctuating financial markets. Why is the book called Holy Cow, You're Retiring? Well, it's because of this. I sat down the first day to start writing this book, and I pulled up my computer, and this was a headline on my homepage. Police baffled as dozens of suicidal cows throw themselves off the cliff in the Alps. I mean, who could write at a time like this? So, of course, I clicked the link. Needless to say, cows don't throw themselves off a cliff willingly. In fact, the article never described why they threw themselves off the cliff. So after much more research, I found 2 hours later a PDF guide for new cattle handlers. And this guide suggested that cows can see everywhere but directly behind them and a small blind spot right in front of them. So I deduced this is exactly what happened. Cows travel in herds. One of them went over the cliff, maybe spooked by a storm. The others followed suit, and there you have it. So the more I thought about this, the more I realized, hey, you know what? Retirees have blind spots too, just like our poor cows do. And it causes them to make decisions about their investment income that will result in financial hardship down the road that they just can't see right now. So it's important to understand these blind spots at the very beginning so you don't make these same mistakes and end up like our poor hapless cows. So in the book, I talk about what I describe as the retirement mountains. It's all those things you work so many years to achieve to get up on top of this mountain. So, I say you've got this opportunity and this freedom that you haven't had for many years. You've got this independence that allows you to go out and travel and do the things you want to do that create happiness. To be able to do that, you need the confidence and the stability financially to know that you'll always be on top of this mountain, because the last thing we want is for you to have the same result as our poor cows. So this presentation is really going to introduce you to 3 different ideas. The first part of the presentation will talk about the 2 most common blind spots that cause retirees to make big financial mistakes. The second part, we're going to introduce 3 different withdrawal strategies. These are strategies for taking an income from your investment portfolio and the lifestyle impact of those 3 different strategies. We'll wrap up the presentation with a discussion of fluctuating financial markets and how to prevent those from sending you into a financial freefall and going over the cliff. Just before we dive into part 1, I want to share with you a story that happened as I was writing this book. One of the things I did as I wrote this book was I had some focus groups because I wanted to understand if these ideas were gaining traction, if I was explaining them well. And in these focus groups, I asked this question. I said, define a financially successful retirement. And we've got, a number of answers, but almost all of them included either this language or something alluding to it, which is never running out of money. I think that's a pretty good definition of financially successful retirement to start. However, I became uncomfortable with this answer relatively quickly because I realized when I'm creating financial plans, this is not the objective I set out with for folks. In fact, I think there's a much better objective, and it is this. How about instead of never running out of money, never beginning to run out of money? I can assure you it's a completely different lifestyle, those 2 definitions. And what I've seen in the industry is many financial planners, as well as retirees, start out thinking, I just need to make sure I never run out of money. Not good enough. I think your plan should always be to never begin to run out of money and enjoying that lifestyle of confidence and stability that I mentioned earlier, so you can have the freedom and the independence and the opportunities and the happiness. That's what never beginning to run out of money is all about. Let me start with a slide that you'll see a few times in this presentation. It's just a summary to make sure we're on track. But let's talk about the 3 key planning steps for never beginning to run out of money. And these, again, are the 3 parts of the book. The first is to learn your blind spots. The second will be to create a withdrawal strategy that makes sense for your lifestyle. The third is going to be having a plan for fluctuating financial markets. We will come back to these 3 points and add detail as we learn more about each one. Now, on to part 1. Let's learn your blind spots.